11. It is so, says Antonius, and as to this kind of oratory, I know that I myself and all who were present were extremely delighted when your mother, Populia, was honored with a panegyric by you, the first woman, I think, to whom such honor was ever paid in this city. But it does not seem to me that all subjects on which we speak are to be included in art and made subject to rules, for from those fountains whence all the ornaments of speech are drawn, we may also take the ornaments of panegyric without requiring elementary instructions. For who is ignorant, though no one teach him, what qualities are to be commended in any person? For if we but look to those things which Crassus has mentioned in the beginning of the speech which he delivered when censor in opposition to his colleague, that in those things which are bestowed on mankind by nature or fortune he could contentedly allow himself to be excelled, but that in whatever men could procure for themselves he could not suffer himself to be excelled. He who would pronounce the panegyric of any person will understand that he must expatiate on the blessings of fortune, and these are advantages of birth, wealth, relationship, friends, resources, health, beauty, strength, talent, and such other qualities as are either personal or dependent on circumstances. And if he possessed these, he must show that he made a proper use of them. If not, that he managed wisely without them. If he lost them, that he bore the loss with resignation. He must then state whom he praises. He must then state what he whom praises did or suffered with wisdom, or with liberality, or with fortitude, or with justice, or with honor, or with piety, or with gratitude, or with humanity, or, in a word, under the influence of any virtue. These particulars, and whatever others are of similar kind, we will easily observe who is inclined to praise any person, and he who is inclined to blame him the contrary. Why, then, do you hesitate, said Catullus, to make this a third kind, since it is so in the nature of things? For it is, for if it is more easy than others, it is not on that account to be excluded from the number, because I am unwilling, replied Antonius, to treat all that falls under the province of an orator as if nothing, however small it may be, could be uttered without regard to stated rules. Evidence, for instance, is often to be given, and sometimes with great exactness, as I was obliged to give mine against Sextus Titius, a seditious and turbulent member of the Commonwealth. When, in delivering my evidence, I explained all the proceedings of my consulate, in which I, on behalf of the Commonwealth, opposed him as tribune of the people, and exposed all that I thought he had done contrary to the interest of the state. I was detained long, I listened to much, I answered many objections, but would you therefore wish, when you give precepts on eloquence, to add any instructions on giving evidence as a portion of the art of oratory? 12. There is indeed, said Catullus, no necessity, or if, as often happens to the greatest men, communications are to be delivered either in the Senate from a commander-in-chief or to such a commander, or from the Senate to any king or people, does it appear to you that because on such subjects we must use a more accurate sort of language than ordinary, this kind of speaking should be counted as a department of eloquence, and be furnished with peculiar precepts? By no means, replied Catullus, for an eloquent man in speaking on subjects of that sort will not be at a loss for that talent which he has acquired by practice on the other matters and topics. Those other kinds of subjects, therefore, continued Antonius, which often require to be treated with eloquence, and which, as I said just now when I was praising eloquence, belong to the orator, have neither any place in the division of the parts of oratory nor fall under any peculiar kind of rules, and yet must be handled as eloquently as arguments in pleadings, such are reproof, exhortation, consolation, all which demand the finest graces of language. Yet these matters need no rules from art. I am decidedly of that opinion, said Catullus. Well, then, to proceed, said Antonius, what sort of orator or how great a master of language do you think it requires to write history? If to write it as the Greeks have written, a man of the highest powers, said Catullus, if as our own countrymen there is no need of an orator, it is sufficient for the writer to tell the truth. But, rejoined Antonius, that you may not despise those of our own country, the Greeks themselves too wrote at first, just like our Cato and Pictor and Piso, for history was nothing else but a compilation of animals, and accordingly, for the sake of preserving the memory of public events, the Pontifex Maximus used to commit to writing the occurrences of every year from the earliest period of Roman affairs to the time of the Pontifex Publius Mucius, and had them engrossed on white tablets, which he set forth as a register in his own house, so that all the people had liberty to inspect it. And these records are yet called the Great Annals. This mode of writing many have adopted, and without any ornaments of style have left behind them simple chronicles of times, persons, places, and events, such therefore as were Pharisides, Hellenicus, Cusolius, and many others among the Greeks are Cato and Pictor and Piso with us, who neither understand how composition is to be adorned or ornaments of style that have been but recently introduced among us, and provided what they related can be understood, think brevity of expression the only merit. Antipater, an excellent man, the friend of Crassus, friend of Crassus, eased himself a little and gave history a higher tone. The others were not embellishers of facts, but mere narrators.